Another Hollow City title march after rivals run out of gas in a deeply unfair race. Asterisk of 115 charges looms, but everyone loves a winner. This was found of the Irish Independent this morning after Liverpool and Arsenal both lost yesterday in a massive day for the title race. As it stands, Manchester City are only 2 points ahead of both Arsenal and Liverpool. However, at the same time, it feels like the title is already lost. Everyone hates Manchester City is the title of this video, and this is predictable to say the least. Once the day comes that Man City eventually is in the lead of the title race, this was always inevitable to happen. I did a video last year after Manchester City won the treble, titled Man City, the world's biggest small club, because the same phrases gets thrown around. Some are stupid and some may have some weight to them. Firstly, tell me your thoughts about Manchester City. Where do you stand in terms of their success in the last decade or so? And subscribe, and Mozilla Designs, for the best football prints, use code CITY for 15% off. The most common phrase you hear is no one cares. No one cares if Man City wins the league because it's Man City. Their success is tainted for a variety of reasons. One could be because it's the money that's been pumped in since 2008, or the other one, which is a much more valid concern, is the alleged looming 115 charges against them. That second one is the key elephant in the room here that divides a lot of people in terms of appreciating some incredible football and incredible talent by the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, Erling Haaland, and the tactical genius of Pep Guardiola, and that looming charges that may not even be due to their own fault. Many charges was from before Pep and all these players were even here, will always play a factor. And when it comes to a title race, especially now when you keep in mind that Man City, if they win this season's Premier League, that means that they've won 6 of the last 7 Premier League seasons. And for all the stick that Liga gets and the Bundesliga prior to, of course, yesterday, the 10-year dominance of Bayern Munich winning the Bundesliga, the dominance of Liga by Paris Saint-Germain in terms of just their inevitability of always winning the league. Is the Premier League really any different? If Man City makes it 6 of the last 7, then how is that any different to what PSG are doing in Liga? Now, for me as a Burnley fan, I'm not a fan of a club on a top tier Premier League, so I have a fairly neutral perspective into this. And for me personally, I will give my actual opinion here. I know many City fans, I think they're all good lads, and sometimes I sympathise with them that they spend a large chunk of their time on social media defending their club on how they should be reacting and how they should feel about their success. Should they feel guilty for the success of Man City despite all of the things that surrounds them? I put out a post earlier today asking my followers on Twitter, go and give me a follow, and also on my Instagram too. I don't really ever promote it. I think I've been on the same follow account now for 3 years. I don't promote it anywhere, but feel free to give me a follow. The question was, does the allegations of the 115 charges looming over Man City taint their success? And makes you view the Premier League in a negative light, as when it comes to the title race, does it feel a bit kind of boring having City win with this over their heads? And it is, as it stands, 73% says yes and 27% says no. That's quite a big divide there. 70-30 is quite a big gap, and I don't disagree with that. This is the main key issue. All these charges, they are only allegations. So in a court of law, you're innocent until proven guilty, right? The only key problem here is the fact it's not just 1 or 2 or 3 charges, it's 115. So by playing with the laws of probability, the odds of all of those 115 charges all being proven false, the odds are not in City's favour to prove all of them innocent. So it makes you think, surely with that many charges, there has to be something in it. There's many things, but one of the main key things of Man City is their inflation of revenue. An article came out a year or so ago, I believe from Forbes, of the most profitable football clubs, according to generated revenue. And Man City was top of the list, ahead of Barcelona, ahead of Bayern Munich, Liverpool, United, and even Real Madrid, and that in itself raised a few eyebrows. How can Man City have a higher generated revenue than Real Madrid? And that's kind of where this all kind of spurred on, and that's part of the charges as well. It's been almost 60 weeks since the case first came out of the 115 breaches, and one thing to keep in mind too, every time that Nottingham Forest, that Everton, that Sheffield United, that Leicester City in recent weeks have had point deductions, have had hearings about the profit and sustainability rules, Manchester City always gets brought into the conversation about when are they going to have their day in court, when are they going to have a charge, when is the case going to be actually put against them. The main key issue is obviously 115 breaches, 115 charges accusing them. It's going to take a lot longer to deal with than one or two. One also key issue is the fact that Man City are not cooperating with it whatsoever. Remember back in 2020 when Man City were also banned from UEFA competitions for 2 seasons? Well, of course, that was completely overturned 5 months later. Charges with City particularly is accusations of failing to disclose accurate financial information, charged with UEFA financial fair play and also the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules, and the layer that they are not operating in the utmost good faith in the Premier League's opinion. And I don't want to turn this on a complete, let's butcher Man City thing, but if you're a reasonable City fan, you've got to understand this problem that's looming over the club. And if you're a fan, I don't really want to say that you cannot celebrate the success because you are not at fault yourself. However, when it comes to having a league be competitive, having a league be interesting, even in the best circumstances, a team winning 6 of the last 7 is kind of boring, and to have this on top of it just adds another layer of And this is me as a complete neutral. I will always back the second team, or the second person. In Formula 1, I wanted Max Verstappen to win in Abu Dhabi back in 2021 because I felt like, because of Hamilton's dominance, I felt like it'd be better for the sport if there was a new winner, because again, the same person winning race after race, championship after championship. You want to see something new because it makes it seem more interesting. You want it to be more interesting, a bit of a fight, a bit of jeopardy. And now I want whoever's second place to now beat Verstappen because now I find it completely boring. But let's talk about the actual title race itself, shall we? Well, Arsenal have got some pretty tough games. And the game yesterday against Villa, off the back of playing Bayern Munich, was possibly at the worst time, as Unai Emery is a fantastic coach and Villa are a fantastic team. City still have to play Spurs away, which is an incredibly tough place for them in recent years, and even the likes of Brighton away too. The issue is, when it comes to Arsenal, they've still got to play Spurs away as well, United away. Even Chelsea at home could also be a tough game at times. And Liverpool's is slightly maybe easier, but I wouldn't say by much. Everton away in a derby is always tough. West Ham as well can be also a bit of a tricky game at times. And Spurs at home and Villa away, I mean, it's just really tough. And it should be, to win a title, it should be tough. And City, despite having Spurs away and then Brighton away, makes it seem a bit easier. With Liverpool, you can almost forgive them. The idea of a quadruple was idiotic from the off because they were never meant to be this far ahead anyway. They're never meant to be really in a title conversation whatsoever. So the idea of them bottling it and falling out of the way, for me, I think is unnecessary because I don't think this was ever meant to be part of their plans to be in a title race. Arsenal, of course, is a lot more of a shame about the match v Villa. And again, there's only 2 points, so you can't say it's absolutely over. But there's some huge games, and City have shown time and time again that when it matters, they show up. I was not a biggest fan. I want to add this in about the Arsenal fans that was at the game. That, I mean, it felt like half the stadium was gone by the 90th minute, and there were 8 minutes added on. I think that's a really bad look. Like, put it this way, Arsenal have, prior to yesterday, not lost a single game in the Premier League in 2024. Like, we're now in April, they've not lost a single game. Other than Manchester City, Arsenal have won every single game this calendar year. Like, every single game in the Premier League, anyway that is. So to see the stadium half empty just because they lose one game, I just think is really, really, really poor from the fans. Especially when there's a Champions League quarter-final in a couple of days' time. Like, you get behind your players. Surely you get behind your players. Tell me your thoughts down below. For me personally, I just want to see a league that is competitive and a team of any kind winning 6 of the last 7. appears boring to me in the same way that PSG winning every single Liga seems boring, in the same way Bayern always wins it, and even when Juve also used to win it time for time a couple of years back in Serie A. That's just my own personal thoughts. I always like a new team. That's just me. So you guys tell me your thoughts down below. See you next time.